Welcome back. It's The Rush. Quarterback U with Judd Thompson, our QBU expert from our QBU headquarters up in Lehi, Utah. This is brought to you by ProLook. What's up, Judd?
How we doing? Week 1 is upon us.
Yeah, man. A lot of great matchups. Corner Canyon Davis. West is playing Arbor View, and that's the one we're talking about. We got Kamden Lopati, one of the top prospects at quarterback. He's going to the maize and blue. Hail to the victors. Your guy, Coach Whittingham, got him to go there. We're excited for him, but he's got one more year of high school left.
QB developer, Coach Whittingham.
Yeah, of course. But, you know, Lopati's got 1 year of high school left, which is unfair because last year they were just putting up, I mean, that offense last year was unbelievable what they were doing. What impresses you just kind of overall about what they do offensively, Judd?
Well, I mean, they look the same as everyone, right? I mean, they've got 4 receivers, 5 receivers. They had a really good back last year. And they scored like 50 points a game. And so I don't know what his receiving core looks like coming back this year, but his ability to spread the field, make throws everywhere, true, just elite arm strength, or as Tim Hasselbeck would say, arm talent. It's obvious why everyone wants him.
What jumped off the film about Kamden?
I mean, his arm strength, and he's one of those guys that can just flick his wrist and the ball just jumps out of his hand. But his ability to throw sideline to sideline, short, intermediate, on the run, even when you think you got him kind of cornered or circled around, he's able just to make plays with his feet, adequate runner. He's a problem. I was shocked to see, I mean, they were so good last year. They must have had some injuries or something because Orem really put it on them last year in the quarterfinals. But I watched them play Timpview week 1 on the, game of the week, and they were blowing the doors off Timpview. So his ability just to be explosive on every play has to have defensive coordinators nervous about playing West.
What was the most impressive throw that you saw him make in your film breakdown?
Yeah, I mean, every throw he makes is more than I could ever do. But I watched him. It's some team at home. I don't know. They're wearing white, so it's hard to tell even who they're playing against. But he kind of does this RPO throw where the back kind of comes across his face and he sticks it in his stomach for a minute. And then the backside receiver's running a slant. And the defender is kind of on the receiver, but the defender's eyes are on the receiver. And so Kamden kind of throws it through the back of the defender where his eyes can't see it. That one stood out to me. I mean, he does a ton of, throwing back across his body to the other side of the field, kind of a half roll to the right, throwing it to the left sideline. I mean, he's got throws that it's rare you see high school kids making, but that one stood out to me.
Who does he remind you of?
Yeah, well, hey, I'm a D2 guy, so D2 holds a special place in my heart. So Trinidad Chambliss came from a D2 program.
Yeah.
I don't even know where he was, but
Ferris
I think he came from Ferris State, finds his way to Ole Miss. Kind of a similar dynamic athlete that I see there, capable runner. I think Kamden likes to throw. I mean, I think he ran for 1,500 yards last year, threw for 3,000 or something. But Chambliss is the one that comes to my mind.
I thought you were going to say Bazinet. All right, that's JB. That's Judd Thompson, our QBU expert. We do it every week. That's Kamden Lopati, star quarterback at West High School. Thanks a lot, Judd.
Hey, I got one ask for the program. So show less of my face and more of the highlights would be, because I'm kind of closing my eyes and I'm trying to remember stuff. I've had too many Alanis, so I need less of me and more of Kamden.
Okay, note taken. All right, we'll talk to you again next week, Judd. Thanks for being here.
All right.
Quick break. Back with more right after this.
This is Henry Bouchard, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, but I'm coming to you from the Lake of the Ozarks because it's August. And in August, you go fishing, and you go tubing, and you swim, and you lather up, and you catch some smallmouth bass, and if you're lucky, some largemouth bass. What you don't do is play high school football because it's the middle of the summer. But in Utah, they do. And they start the football season in August because they play a bunch of meaningless regular season games because everybody makes the playoffs. And so I think they figure we may as well get started. There's nothing else going on. And so this week I've been ordered to pick the Syracuse Junior Orange versus the Woods Cross Wildcats. Now Syracuse has got a few problems here. First problem is no one knows who Syracuse is or where they're from. Second problem is they're going to play against an outside linebacker and a fullback named Ryan Miller for the Wildcats. Now, I don't know much about how he plays football. I know that this triple option thing is new and innovative, and it's sweeping the country. So Woods Cross is bringing out this very forward-facing offense, the triple option. And Ryan Miller's going to be involved in that, but he's a great kid, and I'm sure he does well in seminary. The third problem that Syracuse is going to have is that Woods Cross has a defensive coordinator named J.D. Haining Jr. Now, if you care about Utah high school football history the way that I do, you know that his father is John David Haining, the greatest high school football coach in the history of the state of Utah, except for Fred and Eric Thompson. Now, Haining is so good that he took Woods Cross to the state championship game in 1989, had a guy that I like to call Kit Rawlings, Mr. Big 8, K-State, Kit Rawlings in 1989. But his best team, because in the 89 season it was AAA ball, the best team he ever had was in 1988 because they were still in the highest classification in 4A. And you already know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Chad Rawlings, the quarterback who was getting attention from BYU, and what were the ramifications. And Mike Wright going to the Utes, possibly. And then you had guys like Todd Fuller and Dave Simon and Spud Cullimore and Ryan Arbin, who were more junior college types. And then you had Big Don Anderson, who went to UTEP, back when UTEP was in the WAC and playing BYU and Utah and Wyoming. You had Chad Watson, who obviously was an obnoxious kid, but he was a great historian, and he would come in and make tackles if the linebackers didn't get to him first. I think Haining had him score some TDs during garbage time in some of those games. That was the greatest team in the history of Woods Cross football, and the person who is 100% to be credited is John David Haining. And the Wildcats went to the turf at Rice Stadium, and they lost to Alta by 4 touchdowns in the state quarterfinal. But Alta ended up winning the state championship. So if you think for 1 minute that some team named Syracuse, who ripped off their town and their school's name from an institution of higher learning in New York, and you think Woods Cross is going to let that team come in and beat them, you're wrong. Take the Wildcats in this week's Bouchard!